Ahead by a second. So there we go. That's the title for the YouTube video. Alright everybody, hello and welcome back to another episode on Motorsport Manager with me, Spacefish, and welcome back from our very last race. We have finally done it, and I am so happy that we finally got our issues, well, not really out of the way, and well, we still admittedly had a very weird race, but we finally got the sponsorship objective taken care of in the last race, and I think that is a big step for us, and I'm honestly quite happy about it. Now, I'm not really sure entirely why in the world the race went as it did. And maybe it is worth just looking at our cars and seeing if we've put the right parts on the right cars and why our driver is that bad and all these things. But overall, I'm quite happy for a start that we made it for once. And, well, maybe that is at least an indicator that we are moving in the right direction. But we can't celebrate that one for too much longer, given that the next race in Munich is already up in 24 days, so we will have to get speed going in terms of car development again, of course, and also make sure to prepare adequately for the race. We will take care of that and more in today's episode, but just quickly before we get started, if you're new around here, if you happen to enjoy this video, please make sure to smash that subscribe button right down below. That would mean the absolute world to me. We're closing in quickly on 600 subscribers now, only 400 more to go till 1k, and well, every single one does truly help out a ton, so thank you very much if you did that, and let's move right into it. So the one thing that I really want to look at before we get going here is the parts fitting, because this is the thing that confuses me the most. I do have to say, I mean, for a start, I would really still love to get Hong onto car number 1, because, well, I mean, that's kind of the car that gets the good parts by default. And I know that next season we'll have issues with that again. But I'm sort of kind of wondering, I mean, if we look at all these parts, you can actually see that, yeah, he's got the better parts. I mean, he's got the good engine with the better stats, he's got the good gearbox with the better stats, he's even got the suspension with the better stats, and the brakes with the better stats. I'm unsure why in the world Andre still managed to be better than Hong. And the interesting part also being that in the overall standings, Hong is still up front despite having crashed like 15 times in a row. Maybe he's just like in a bad condition or something. I know there's like some sort of morale stats and stuff. That can be the case, you know, he's got some random stuff going for himself. What about Hong here? Potential plus 50. Focus, morale, everything's looking good technically. His own morale is maxed out as good as possible. When did the Milan race happen? Can we have a look at that? Okay, so that's his best takeaway, like 4 races away, was the last time he apparently was happy about the way he did. Well, car opinion -1, twice. He's getting the better car, and he's still got a bad opinion about the car. I don't even know. This will make them easier to find. Okay, no, we don't care about that. I mean, maybe the main concern here really is the consistency and the adaptability and the smoothness. He is increasing at a alright rate per week. I mean, it's not really much of a crazy speed at which he is improving. He does have so much potential left though, so everything should be improving more over time. Especially, of course, if we get more stuff going in the HQ, which we still have a development going there. That's going to take a few weeks. Maybe that's going to help also with him. I don't know. I mean, we can look at his past results here, and you can see just how much better he even did. He did actually do better at the start of the season. 13th, 12th, 13th. the last two races were just absolutely terrible. Maybe it's just a driver form. You can see average form this season 6.5. Yeah, his form has certainly gone down quite a lot. At Milan it was at 5.3. At Munich it was 8.0 nearly. I mean, he's not doing much better, so I don't really know what to say about that. Okay, I don't know. I mean, it's not the car for a start, so we've kind of pinpointed that down, and other than that, we'll kind of have to see. We are not going to take any interviews for the time being. I don't know. Didn't really do crazily great, so I cannot imagine it would have all the best implications for us ever. Pit crew we will have a look at a later point. For the time being, to my knowledge, I think we're still repairing the car, so let's go to here where the car repair has been completed. And apparently we have a fixed payment sponsor slot open with 3 offers already available, so ooh, that is actually quite nice. 200k per race for 10 races. I mean, it's a 3-star sponsor, which is great. I think that's the maximum we can get at the moment, is it? Yeah, it's the max we can get at the moment. And he doesn't have an upfront payment, which kind of should mean, I would hope, that all the money is in the per race money. So that's also not the worst indication. We're currently losing 1 point. Yeah, I mean, we're going to take it. It's 200k per race. I hope that it's going to help. I mean, looking at these other slots, which I would suppose are hopefully the better ones, the more desirable ones. Well, we're doing good compared to that one. We're not doing too great compared to that one. I'm sure it's fine. We're at, well, the income per race hasn't updated. We should be at like minus 900k per race now, which is quite alright overall. We've got 8 mils still remaining. Maybe also something to quickly check on. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 races remaining. So, I mean, that's honestly 5.4 mil. We even have some overheads there still, so that's good. And the more sponsorship objectives, of course, we can complete now the last few races, the more of an overhead we will have, which, well, I don't think we're all going to push it into a car, so maybe even potentially in the future. No, this is all too expensive. So no upgrades for the time being. I don't think we have the money for that. But we're going the right way in terms of financials, I hope, so that should all be fine. In terms of parts improvement, we do have this stuff here going for reliability. Oh yeah, that was, we still had brakes and springs and stuff that we weren't able to use yet due to the low reliability levels. So that is currently being worked on for Hong's car, of course, which both of these are actually going to be quite important to get ready for the race. So we have to get that going. Gearbox is up to snuff perfectly, which is beautiful. Where was the engine at? That is also quite good. I mean, of course, getting it to 100% reliability, given how much we like to over-inject fuel into our engines, would be nice. But, well, I mean, the status is quite good for now. So we need to get those parts up in terms of reliability. Then I guess when they reach about 80%, we're going to work on the performance of those parts, which suspension doesn't even have much left to work on, but the brakes do, both in terms of reliability as well as performance. So hopefully we'll be able to proceed in terms of that. In terms of these dudes here, yeah, I mean, he's quite exhausted for a start. What do we need here? Tires and fixing. We've got a 15-11 person here, so we will fix those people through. And then we've got tires and refuel right here. I guess some people are just going to have to stay. We'll have to see how to manage that. So, tires and refuel, we would have this person, Grace, the one we just swapped out. It's the only one. We've got that person, I guess. Yeah. I guess we're going to swap. No, this person's actually recovering as well. Good. Is there anyone else remaining? No. Tires and refuel. Why do we not have anyone that can do that? Maybe we can hire someone for tires and refuel then. This person here. Well, looks like a good option. We will hire. Going to cost us some money, unfortunately. which we don't have the most of, admittedly, but our pit crew has always been one of our more strong points, and we do need to make sure that remains one of our stronger points, so gotta invest in that. And we need to remember to renew these contracts and stuff too, like this one here, which is, I mean, admittedly also not the best person in the world. All of these contracts are actually quite close to ending. Oh boy. Yeah, so we'll need to look at that soon, actually. These people are all quite new. Those people are all quite new. This one isn't. Wait. Yes, I mean, this one is a great front jack. We definitely need to renew that contract. It doesn't cost us anything, apparently, to renew contracts of crew that we want to keep. So, that's good. We will continue looking through here for a quick second, because I do think we need to make sure nobody really falls through the roster here that we want to keep. So, this one, I guess, is our other rear jack person, which we can actually swap these two through, technically, but we're going to renew that contract for the time being. Rear jack and rear jack. That person can recover. We've got this person right here, tires and fixing, which I don't think we have too many people doing that either, to be fair. So let's renew that. This, I guess, being our alternative front jack right there, at 15. Well, no, 15 is our other one. 13. I think we, yeah, let's renew that as well. We'll go and swap those two through as well. The other one can recover, just kind of also to make sure that we minimize potential for mistakes, and those others all already have their contracts sorted. So that's great. That's another thing off the list. Before we forget about that again, and suddenly we're out of pit crew, which did happen to us once this playthrough, got to keep that in mind. Unfortunately, the game doesn't really remind you of that, I suppose, so got to be careful with that stuff. Now, there's going to be some random other Grand Prix alongside here now. In terms of reliability, still a bit to go. 1 day after race in terms of completion time, but that's going to be fine, because of course we're going to unschedule these once we get to 80% reliability, which shouldn't be too far off. Scouting stuff finished. We do have a new slot up that we're just going to throw some random person at. I guess if there's going to be anyone here, no. Those we all have done pretty much. European Racing Series we're also done with, so we're going to work on Asia Pacific more. I guess that's going to be the next class that we're moving up to, potentially. So yeah, let's see about that. That's that. Moving on with the race, I can just quickly go through, I guess. Just like that. We do not care about the standings of that one, and we are moving straight on. So we're gonna have to see now when the parts go to about 80%, because that's when we have to unschedule them to not waste any time. Just gonna ignore the sponsoring stuff for a quick second here. Maybe the sponsoring, the scouting stuff. Apologies, I guess we can get some person on there. How are we doing? 77%. Let's give it one more day. 79%. I guess, honestly, looking at the engine reliability, that should be fine. We will already schedule the performance of this, but keep the allocation to reliability here for the brakes, and then that'll automatically swap over once we take the brakes off it. I mean, the brakes are at 72%, so we'll need to give it a quick minute still. Choosing a vote. It occurs to me that occasionally team principals may be interested in tabling. Okay, right, so if we pay a mil, we can vote about something. We could have a look at what we could influence, yeah? Just to maybe have an overview. I don't think we're going to pay 1 mil for that right now, because honestly the money's quite tight for us and precious to us, so we can't waste too much of that. Practice sessions being very long. Track layouts, change tracks, add track layouts, add tracks. Pit lane speed limit. This'll aid cars with worse tyre wear rates. Yeah, that would help us, honestly. But no, I don't think... I mean, I'm just quickly scrolling through here for anyone interested. Very interesting stuff, most certainly. Didn't know that you could change all this stuff. But we're not going to influence that at all this... this season, because, yeah, we don't have the money. So, sorry, Ernie. Maybe another time. Maybe another time when we're actually filthy rich and done a different series and stuff. That'll actually be worth it. Stuff on the upcoming race, which is going to be interesting. There's likely to be some rain. Got to keep that in mind. Our marketability. We're definitely not the least marketable team by any stretch. But science and more media-friendly drivers having a few stronger race performances. Yeah, so strong race performances would be great. That would imply Hong actually being able to drive his car properly, though. So let's hope that he changes his mind there. We also just absolutely wasted time on the brakes. I'm so annoyed at that one. We went a bit too over the top, unfortunately, there. That is totally my fault. I mean, now the brakes are never going to break, ever. But yeah. In turn, you know. Yeah, so that is what it is, I guess. Now, in terms of the parts and everything, right? Honestly speaking, I think we will have an interesting opportunity after the next race. Because at that point, we'll be able to bring both these parts to max performance. And then we will kind of be... Well, on the one hand side, having the opportunity to increase the reliability of Hong's car to 100% on all the stuff, or to, of course, work on Andre's car performance. And I think what we choose to go for maybe should also a bit depend on how Hong is going to do in the next race, because if he doesn't do well, honestly, we should push Andre more. Otherwise, you know, 100% performance on all the parts would be great. Like, we could just push the engine all race long and not worry about it in the slightest. I mean, that's quite an interesting opportunity too. So that'll be an interesting choice to make, but that's something for after this race then. For the time being, let's continue through this random race that's about to happen now. And then we'll continue on to the race and just see how well the performance improvements in our car are doing. Speaking of performance improvements in our car, let's make sure to actually fit these things to the car before I forget. So, this goes on Hong's car. Andre can actually then move on to Hong's old brakes, of course, so his car at least performs a bit better, which, you know, in the end is always also going to be helpful. And then we have the suspension, which we're going to do the same thing on. Honestly, didn't know that the suspension reliability and other stuff was that low, and we just left it there. That's interesting. But yeah, so that's that. That's things swapped over. And let's continue to the travel to Munich points and have a look at how far they actually got. I think that's quite decent, honestly. Quite decent, quite happy with that. Looking at the comparison here, we're still kind of super far at the end of the field, unfortunately. Acceleration seems to be our strongest point, interestingly enough, despite us putting so much into the engine even at the start of the season. But, well, it's taking us a long while to catch up to the rest of the field. Gotta say that. Anyways, let's hit that continue button. And let's, of course, choose our lowest sponsorship objective here. Hopefully, we can fulfill that one again. So we get another 300k. That would help out a ton. So fingers crossed. Part fitting is what it is. Sorry, Andre. We don't have the money to get 2 cars there. But this will hopefully work out for us. And let's hope that Hong has finally found something and some way to properly do things again, because I'm not happy at all, in the slightest, with how he's doing. Hopefully, he will manage this time to actually stay on the track, not instantly wreck the car, and yeah, I don't know, somehow just perform halfway decently for the team so that we can actually get some good stuff going for us. Now, here we are, it's already raining, which is quite interesting. It does appear it will be a max wet now, so I suppose we will not go out on intermediates, but more on wets, given how quickly it's going to get wet here. Downforce wise, given the indicators, I think we're going to start with 1 degree on top and see how the drivers like that. It's a lot of slower corners judging this, actually. I was going to say fast corners, but maybe a little less tire camber. Acceleration is key here, it seems. So we will do a little something like that maybe and see how that works for the drivers. Wet tires most certainly, and we'll do about the same thing here for Hong. So 1 degree of downforce. Interesting how different his downforce graph is. Does seem that oversteer is a little more desired, so as I thought, kind of more slow corners and fast ones here. And that seems about right. Cool, let's put wets on there and let's go out like that. I would really love if rain is if the race is going to be very much in the wet too, then, given my tires research that I'm doing now, but we'll have to see about that. Let's take the practice and let's, as usual, send these guys out quickly and get some practice laps in. So max everything, and out you all go. And I mean, we're not gonna be able to get any reliable times here anytime soon anyway, so we will just let them loop the track once. Just about like that. We'll bring them in here already and kind of just act based on their feedback. Absolutely soaked out on the track. It does seem to be drying off sometimes, so our tyre knowledge will be absolutely messed up in terms of the mix, but that is what it is, I guess. We are in and we already have some feedback and it's not looking too bad, so that's good to see. I do suspect that downforce, I'm not sure if it's too high or too low, to be fair. We will try and increase it by 0.5 degree and see if it gets better or worse, I guess. We'll just have to kind of act on that. We'll make the gear ratio 1 level shorter, maybe. Kind of just adjust things to keep the handling where it is, because that's perfect. And then let's just see how that one works out for us, if we're improving things, if we're worsening things. We're going to use the same set of wets. Going to save us some time, and we're not going to get reliable times now anyways. And don't want to use all these wet sets, because, you know, don't know how many you will need in the race after all. Then, Hong, how are you doing, buddy? You are about in the same spot, I would say. Actually, speed balance seems to work out better, so the only thing here is downforce that we're going to change. Going to increase it by 0.5 degree on both wings. And we will also aspire to fix that down there. And send them out like that and see how that works out for him. Shouldn't be the longest modification in the world there anyways, given that we don't need to swap tires out for him too. So Hong is the faster one to go out then, because we only changed the downforce, and there goes Gomez too. Let's see just how well they can do on a lap of this. I'm quite suspecting that we would be at the top of the timing sheets at this point, just given that we're the only ones on track to actually use wets, because the intermediates are going to be absolutely flooded here with that weather. But yeah, I mean, I don't think we're going to get any proper comparison opportunities in here. Now, maybe the track is going to be proper dried off until we go out with the last for the last stint, so we can go for some slicks, but we'll see about that when we get there. Aero setup seems to be way better, so I'm quite happy about that. Regardless, we're going to bring both of our drivers in real quick to try and see how they're doing, make some final adjustments, and then we'll go from there. I do have a feeling that we should be able to get some slicks in, so at least a little bit of knowledge should we need that, but I'm suspecting that we're probably going to use the mechanic knowledge instead of the tyre knowledge anyways. So that's looking great on both setups from what I just saw there. Great, excellent, great. So that's a decent level, I would say. I'm going to go and hand them some softs now, and we're just going to kind of let them drive, give them a bit more fuel just to make sure. And we will do the same thing for Hong. So 4 laps of fuel for you, 1 set of softs for you, send you out, and on we go. Max strategy, yeet it around the track, have some fun, get us to the top of the timing sheets. Will absolutely not be representative at all, and I'm not even sure the AI are going to get any proper time in on soft still, but well, we'll see just how that works, I suppose. Not too well, probably, if Hong and Gomez just stay behind that dude that's blocking them right now. Can you not overtake him? What's going on there? Thank you very much. There we go. Just when the timed lap starts, so that's beautiful. Now we're just going to keep them lapping the track, honestly, because the longer they're going, the better for us in terms of the data we gather, of course. Hong is in a bit of a better form, 7.7, so I'm very much appreciating that. Gomez, 4.1, and he's still able to stick to Hong, despite the better form, despite the better driver, despite the better car. I don't even know anymore, honestly. But yeah, you can see Hong ahead by a second. So there we go. That's the title for the YouTube video. Ahead by a second, and then the revelation is that we're only ahead by a second because we're the only ones that use the slicks on the training day. Yeah, I don't know. Not really that representative, I guess. We did get the race trim to level 3. We did get some slight tyre knowledge too. We even got an even more improved time, so, you know. We're doing great, everyone. We're doing great. No, I don't know. We'll have to see on race day. Hopefully we can at least somewhat stay in the realms of our sponsorship objective, and if that's at all possible, I'm going to be quite happy. In terms of other times, you know, I don't know. There's nothing at all comparable. The AI didn't swap anymore or go out anymore, so we cannot tell. We will have to see in the next one then, when the race weekend is upon us. For today, I'm going to have to end it off right here. I hope you all very much enjoyed it. As usual, if you did, please make sure to smash that like button down below. That does always help out a ton with the video performance. And if you're new around here and haven't done so just yet, also please consider subscribing right down below, as well as hitting that bell icon in order to stay up to date on all the future upcoming episodes. With all that out of the way, though, as usual, everybody, thank you so much for watching, and I hope I'll catch you in the next one when we go for the race in Munich. Thanks, everyone, for watching. Ciao.